What is good, YouTube? It's Coach Ryan Rizuki, and I'm going to show you a few examples today on good and bad rhythm. I really want you to focus on being able to get nice, good fluidity into all of your shots so that way you can shoot and continue to extend your range without having to alter your form. I'm going to show you some of the common things that I see wrong with many people's shots as they go into it, and some things that you can do to fix it as well. So let's get into it. To begin, I'll show you 3 bad examples of rhythm. And so for this one, I'm going to put it in slow-mo, and I want you to see how the ball starts to rise as my butt goes down. Secondly, I allow that ball to cross over my face. And what it does here is it gets past my head, across my face, and you never want these 2 things to happen. If the ball rises, my body should be rising as well. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a little bit. Now in this clip, I'm going to be going way too fast, and that ball will rise before my body even gets there. So this is more out of control instead of going too slow or having bad synchronization, but it is bad as well. I'll show you a couple more examples on what you should be doing. But this right here is another example of allowing that ball to cross my head. And of course, I never want it to go across my face. I want it to stay in front of my forehead and then allow that ball to rise and go out into my shot without having to catapult it by pulling it backwards before going forward. Here's another great example of having that ball rise as my body drops. And you can notice that at the moment that I get to my set point here, the ball is sitting at my set point, but my butt is still down. And so unfortunately, as I go to shoot it, I'm going to be heaving it with my entire body all at once, which will of course leave it to be out of control again. Now this is a much better example of what you should be doing. You start low with the ball, and as the ball rises, your body starts to rise as well. Now the ball will reach my set point here as my body is still continuing to move up and then out into that shot. So I do have good fluidity into it. Of course, if I'm shooting it with a lot of elevation, my body will lock out, my hips will completely lock, my ankles will completely lock before I release that ball, just because of the timing of it. But let's just say that I'm shooting it right here. You can notice that my body is rising with the ball and my hips are about to lock as that ball reaches my set point, and then as I go and I follow through all the way, my wrist, my hips, my ankles, everything is moving in a nice synchronization there. I will normally shoot my shots at the peak of my jump. However, sometimes I'll shoot it right before the peak, but you never really want to release it afterwards. The only time that I do that is if I'm really, really close to the basket. However, the rhythm that we're talking about today is how the ball moves up with your body at the same time and not having that ball rise as your knees and your hips drop down. This is a player I worked with recently on this exact same thing. So you can see that at the moment that he starts to bring the ball up, his hips drop down and his knees move forward. You can also see that the ball slightly covers his face, and of course we want to avoid this at all costs. And then at the end, of course, he just pushes the ball instead of has a nice fluid flick. So here, of course, is the new shot. We start with the ball low, we start with our hips already low, and then we rise up into the shot all together and have it much more fluid on the way up, and the ball no longer crosses the face. It's not perfect yet, as there's a slight pause where the ball is just a little bit too low on the set point, but it is much, much better than the previous one. And being able to get into this low ball and low body together and then rise together is going to help you get into your pull-ups much easier. This right here is a phenomenal example of how you stay low on that dribble. You're already low, and then that ball and your body can rise together into that shot. And of course, the ball will never cross the face, and we'll shoot it right here at the pinnacle of our shot, allowing for a nice and smooth shot. Now, as I mentioned earlier, your rhythm will change a little bit just depending on certain shots and the way that you have to get them off. But ideally, this is going to be the best way to at least practice and get your rhythm down into your shot so you're not shooting it while moving down and having the ball move up at the same time. You want that ball and your body to be low together and then both move up in synchronization. I'm going to show you right here one way that you can kind of work on that on your own. So if you struggle with rhythm on your shot, you can stand on an elevated seat that isn't too low. And then from there, you start with the ball on your quad, and then you rise up into the shot all together. So this will force you to bring the ball and your body up at the same time. I put the hat on because I know some of you like to cross your face as you go into a shot, so the hat will kind of prevent that and keep that ball in front of you. I don't like how long the bill of the hat is, because oftentimes that's too far and you won't have any strength to go into your shot. So what I'll normally do is I'll just bend the bill enough so that way I can get the ball close enough to my forehead, but not too close to the point where I'm having it go past my head or even hit my head. I really hope that helps you out. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. I will be putting out a lot more content for you guys to continue to learn and get better. Now with your shot and your fluidity, this is going to be the biggest way that you can help to continually improve it. But if you want me to look at your shot and help you to fix your shot, please, by all means, DM me on Instagram at R2bball. It costs a little bit, but it's fairly worth it. And I promise you that it's going to make a huge difference in your shot. If you want me to do a shot breakdown for you, I can look at all of the things that you're doing right and all of the things that you're doing wrong, and we can focus on a few key points to really help you to become a much better shooter. Again, it's at R2bball, and it does cost, but it is well worth it. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Let me know down below if you have any recommendations for a future video.